and welcome to Go Watch a Movie, episode 83. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Today we are getting extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, and also covering that movie. That is a Netflix film that, can't wait to talk about. I also want to make a statement. Got a few emails about you're in love with Thanos. He's a bad guy. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And I will reply back to all of you who did that. I love Thanos. I'm not in love with him. So there. Before we get into that film, we're going to do a little bit of entertainment news. Let's see here, sir. It has been a bit of a busy week. I guess first off, a Willow sequel series is probably going to happen on Disney Plus. Ron Howard is in talks with them right now, which, you know, they have infinite amounts of money to throw at him. So I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
Right.
Did you enjoy the original Willow movie?
I love the original. That takes me way back. That's a good movie, despite, you know, being a little bit older.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's a classic. But like he did say, wow, just blanked on his name. Willow himself will be returning. So Warwick Davis, there we go. Will be returning, but
is he gonna be like the old guy that was in the original Willow movie, who was like in the beginning, the old wise one, and kind of like passed the torch down to the younger Willow?
I'm not 100% sure. There's not a lot of details. It's just in talks right now. But I think they do the in talks thing just to throw out there and see if how people react. You know, is this going to be a good idea or not? But yeah. So
what about Val Kilmer? Are they going to bring him back?
Yeah, they didn't mention old Val. He had blew up for a while there. Like not in fame, but like in stature. I mean, which, you know, he can lose a couple personal trainers, and he's
not that he needs to necessarily to play the part. Maybe the character has become
like a drunkard,
or maybe just isn't, you know, as active on the battlefield as he used to be.
That could be.
He could make it. I mean, I would like everybody to come back. I want the baby. I want to come back like grown. Baby. That would be fun if they could pull that one off. I doubt it, but
agreed. The next 3 Star Wars films have release dates. Well, Disney dropped a lot of release dates here yesterday. First off, the X-Men spinoff New Mutants got pushed back yet again, which kind of upset me. April 3rd, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, they have apparently a Brad Pitt sci-fi film, Astra, is coming September 9th. And then Artemis Fowl is now May 29th, 2020. But I guess the biggest news here is that the Star Wars films, the first one we'll get, let's see here. I should have highlighted these. 2022, which is a ways away. But I mean, we have the last of the Skywalker saga coming December, so it's not like we're not going to have Star Wars for a while. And then, of course, there's the Mandalorian and whatever else they have planned for us for Disney Plus. But yeah, I don't know. And they promised that but they said this will be a new saga. The Star Wars, the Skywalker saga will be over with Rise of the Skywalker. So yeah, I'm not sure. And then of course they release the Avatar dates, Avatar 2, 2021. And there's going to be 4 more of those movies.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's been working hard on those. That's why he gave up Battle Angel Alita, because he was working on all those Avatar movies. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Disney's doing a lot right now.
Sounds like it.
And that's not to even mention, of course, the other Marvel movies that are coming that start Phase 4. Yeah, they have a lot on their plate. But looking forward to any of that stuff, or?
I almost feel like Star Wars wise, even though I do want to see the end of this particular saga, I do feel a little overwhelmed. There's just so much. So it makes, I don't know. I think when there's like too much, it kind of dilutes, if I'm using the right terminology, like the pool to make it not as concentratedly good.
Yes.
That makes, you know what I mean? So there's just too much. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's just maybe too much. And maybe the too much isn't as up to par with the original love for Star Wars, that it's kind of making me like, not as excited for Star Wars stuff.
You think they're just going up for quantity instead of quality?
I mean, there's still some quality, but I do think the quantity thing is getting. I mean, I realize there's money to be made, but
lots.
There's also tons of people out there with original ideas that would love a shot. So, I would love to see those things. So that's how I feel about it.
For sure. Do you think the next Star Wars film that is coming out on in December will do better than Endgame just did?
No.
Yeah, I have to agree 100%.
I didn't have to think about it. No, sure won't.
Yeah, I think some people are just done with it after the last one, which is sad, because I'm going on the record saying that I actually enjoyed the last one, but that's just me, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I think, like you said, there's so much right now. Yeah. And yeah, with that, we'll just go ahead, because that was a lot. We'll go ahead and get right into trailers. Did you want to go first or me, sir?
Totally up to you.
I'll go ahead and hit it. I saw one that is not my normal cup of tea. I don't normally go horror, but this one caught my interest. The Lodge. This is a horror film where a dad gets a new wife for his kiddos. And a new stepmom for his kiddos. He's not marrying them all. It's a Game of Thrones, but he gets a new stepmom for the kids, and decides to take them to a lodge, I guess, that his family has been going to for years, but he wants her to get to know them, etc. And he has to go somewhere. It's not quite clear in the trailer, but he has to leave and go somewhere, and leaves them with her. And they do a Google search of her and find out that she was the only survivor of this cult that, everyone else died, like hundreds of other people died, but she was the only survivor. And then the horror ensues with creepy music and whatnot throughout. I did turn the lights on while I was watching it. But yeah, it looks interesting. I'll recommend that one. Check that one out.
That one sounds good. Yeah. Mine, I have two for you. All right. First one, the guys who made Evil Dead are involved with this one. It's called Crawl. Okay. And it is basically, it sounds ridiculous, but it looks kind of cool. And I'm kind of gravitating towards things that I can turn my brain off on. and so this is one of them. I guess there's a storm. There's this family. There's a storm. They get trapped in their house, and it fills with water, and there's a bunch of crocodiles or something in it. in the house attacking them.
It's like new version of a home invasion film.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, but it looks good, and I think this one's actually going to be enjoyable, if nothing more than just to enjoy a beer and watch a fun movie. I mean, it's that kind of a flick. So I mean, don't put too much into it. I'm not saying this is like the next Exorcist or something. This is just another fun movie to watch.
And they like missed the evacuation or something like that because of the storm, right? Or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but it looks good. And my next one is called Rim of the World. And it's a little Netflix gem that we're getting. The reason why I'm kind of interested in seeing this one is because it reminds me vaguely of Attack the Block, and I absolutely love that movie.
For sure.
And it has a little bit of the Goonies, a little bit of Attack the Block. You know, it's basically about a bunch of kids that go to this camp, and then there's an alien invasion, and then I guess like all the adults leave, like are nowhere to be found as far as their kids' parents and whatnot. So they're like on their own, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they try to go to the city, and then they steal a car, and all kinds of other crazy stuff happens. So it just looks like a fun movie. I'm like, again, I want another one where you can probably turn your brain off and just enjoy what you're watching.
Yeah, I have to check that one out because I have not seen that second one. The Rim of the World.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, which brings us to our main event here. I must say, I'm normally very jokey with movies and whatnot, but this is very serious.
You don't think this movie's jokey?
No. It definitely has its moments, but I mean, this actually happened. You know, like there are people who for sure lost their lives, and I don't want to make light of that, even though like this is a recreation of a book based on the events from someone who is very close to him, point of view. Still don't want to make light of it.
Yeah, we don't like disclaimer. Serious. We don't want to like offend anybody whose families were involved in the actual thing. Our comments aren't meant to do that. Just critiquing the movie.
Yep. And with that said, we're going to get into extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, and horrible, and tarnished. No, it's stop the vile. We did this for a trailer sode episode. The title still just makes my tongue get fat and cramps it up.
I think the title, I'm giving something away here. The title is the best part of the movie.
I did like the throwback to it in the film. This one stars Lily Collins, Zac Efron, Angelina Serafine,
sure,
Haley Joel Osment, and a surprise appearance by John Malkovich, because he's not in any other trailers or anything, but very welcomed appearance by John Malkovich. I want to just like take all the lightness out of my voice for this, because it's like I said, I don't want to sound like, oh my God, this was I enjoyed it so much, and it's based on. First of all, let me go back here. When we talked about this on Trailer Sods, one of the things we talked about was it seemed like, well, maybe it was my opinion, but it seemed like it glorified him.
Yeah,
What do you think?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think that's probably a common danger whenever they're making a movie about a serial killer, which they do quite a bit. Yeah. Is glorifying it, making people like the serial killer, because there is some type of a weird attraction that people have to serial killers,
and apparently even more so with him.
Mm-hmm. The ladies apparently love this guy because I don't know, and
if you guys aren't familiar, we're talking about this movie is based off the horrible things that Ted Bundy did.
Yes.
Apparently the ladies just freaking loved him, and even going through a trial for murdering women like who were their age, they still love this. So it's a rough one, man. And because there's things about this from a film point of view that I want to be like, damn, I really enjoyed the way they did that. Like they mixed some some live action stuff because a lot of his stuff was filmed because he was such a glory hound. So they mixed a bunch of live action, like the opening of this movie I thought was brilliant. Like they showed his quote unquote joyous side, but at the same time they were showing how freaking extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile he was by showing his trials, the bodies they found, the murders, and actual clips from the actual cases, So yeah, I thought that was pretty freaking cool. What do you think about this one, Robert?
You know what? I don't want to say bad things, but I can't. Like, everything that's popping into my head is just like a negative comment. I did not overwhelmingly enjoy this film. Oh. There was a lot about it that bothered me. I understand what they were going for. Yeah. And I think it was a risky move, but I like that they took the risk. Mm-hmm. I think even though the movie is called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, there's no depiction of the vile things that he did, except for maybe a photograph towards the end.
Yeah, that's my problem. Like, that is my problem. Like, and that's why I lean toward, because I asked you if you still think he was glorified, but they didn't quite show him being like a proven, yes, he's bad up until the last moment.
I think they were trying to make a smarter movie. They wanted to avoid the gore and trying to be shocking. Like they didn't want they didn't want the shock value of it. They concentrated on the more human element of people either believing him or not believing him, or his obsession with his girlfriend.
How charismatic he was.
Yeah, but even then I think they failed showing how charismatic he could have been. Mm-hmm. I think it was weird. It was almost like, and a lot of it played out like the movie tried to play out like it was like there was a mystery. Yes. We didn't know until the end. That he actually did it by writing hacksaw or whatever it was on the glass. Which makes me think the glass was really steamy for him to be able to write that. But it's like, but we already know who he is. This is based off of a true story. He's like super famous as far as serial killers go. Yeah. It's Ted Bundy. So the entire time you're watching it and people are confused, like, did he do it, not do it? And you're just sitting there thinking, this is based off of a true story. Of course he did it.
Yeah, he was freaking executed for it.
So you had to sit through 2 hours of you knowing what the rest of the people in the movie didn't know.
And that's why I was like, that's why I lean towards the glorification side, because like you said, we know he fucking did it. He confessed before they killed him. But the movie kind of showed none of that. Like, and I don't want to see him murdering women, or I don't think you have to do that, but like, give us an idea, or the people who may not know Ted Bundy, an idea that he is not just this super charming, charismatic person who thinks he's good up until the very end. Like, you need to show them that this dude is everything the title says this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they show, like, I'm assuming he was like a sociopath, but they basically show that side of him, and like, I don't want to say dissect it, but they make it so obvious that that's what he is, as opposed to, is he really charming or isn't he? You know what I mean? It's like they focus in on, like, yeah, this is a disturbed person from the get, So there's no surprise. Not that there should be, because a surprise, but I mean, it was almost, for me, it was grueling to watch, because I'm just thinking, like, what direction are they trying to go in? I understand I do appreciate them taking this risk and trying to make a smarter movie about the relationships that he had, and people discovering or being able to discover. I like the finding out. I guess spoilers if you didn't already know. Spoilers. I like finding out that the girlfriend was the one who put his name in originally. I didn't.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that. If I did know it, I had forgotten. So that was cool to find out, like, the kind of guilt that she was going through. Like, maybe she made a mistake, but then you find out at the end she didn't. So
and just the trance that he had over these women, that were in his life. Even though she was pretty sure he was what they painted a picture of. She still like loved him unconditionally for a long time.
It's almost like this weird after school special for like older women, like how to spot a sociopath and not. Like it just seemed like that to me. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a movie. It just seemed like this weird sort of like, I don't know, thing that wasn't really about storytelling, but it was about just as much about education, maybe, as opposed to the enjoyment of watching a film. And I like watching documentaries and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but when I heard about this movie and watched the trailer, I thought that I was actually going to be watching like a movie that was going to take me someplace, as opposed to like capture me and hold me captive for 2 hours while it told me what I already knew. Which is kind of how I felt about this movie. And
some of the things that they acted out were like, because I went back and watched some of the footage, sadly, that he was reacting like. It started with the him proposing to the chicken in the courtroom, and I was like, oh, he didn't do that. That has to be made up, but he did it. Like the fucker was brazen and bold enough while he's on a trial for his life to propose to this woman who is blindly, in love with him. And I watched like after the movie, I was like, okay, that's how that happened. But then I watched the actual version of him doing it, and it's fucking shocking, man.
I'm not saying they didn't put the work in. I mean, I'm Zach really studied the man to be able to appear like him. I mean, the acting was great. There's no fault there.
Mr. High School Musical, Mr. Comedy, haha. Like I have to take my hat off to Zach for that.
Yeah, I think as far as that was concerned, Jim Parsons' character, I don't know if I still saw like who he plays on TV as opposed to. Is that Bazinga? Yeah. I just didn't, Sheldon. I just didn't, I don't know. I haven't seen, the first time I saw him, it wasn't even in Sheldon. It was like, Big Bang Theory. He was in another movie. So I'm shocked that he's become that character so well that that's all I see now. So it's hard for me to get away from that. Yeah. So I need to see him do like a completely different like role where he changes his voice somehow and does something in his look to where I don't
see. Pull you away from Sheldon.
Yeah, because that kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. And then
what'd you think of old I See Dead People coming back?
No, I was just about to tackle that. That's the other casting issue that I thought, and maybe the real guy looks like him. I don't know. I didn't do my research on this. Yeah, but he pulled me out of the movie too, because I kept seeing like the Nazi party, like from Tusk. Tusk.
That was the last time I saw that fucker.
And I'm thinking this is like weird. It's like I haven't seen him in a lot opposed, as opposed to like artificial intelligence, whatever. And then that was the right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was right in the movie. And then like Tusk and whatnot. But like. Yeah, but then like recently though, it's like he's playing these guys that I just don't. He looks like, and I hate to say this because I don't want to be like that jerk. It's just like this guy looks like a giant baby, but he does look like a giant baby, and I just don't see how he's getting the roles that he's getting. Like I picture something different. Like he's playing the guy that takes the place of Ted Bundy.
Who is this like super charming, womanizing, good-looking dude? Or
yeah, and then he's supposed to be this rock for this woman who is dealing with all these issues that
the views is being expressed by Robert, not the views by Go Watch a Movie.
It's just I don't think they casted it correctly. He seemed off somehow. But I mean, and I hate to say that it's because of his look, but it is sort of, and a person who's casting characters for the movies should know. Like, there's people out there that, like, the majority of people, I'm assuming, are having it. Like, I'm assuming other people feel the same way. Like, he looks like a giant baby, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I hate to say that to him. Or just because it's mean, but
maybe that's what they were going for. Like they wanted the polar opposite of what Ted Bundy was.
It's possible, but
I don't know. Yeah.
And then in the last movie that I saw him in was Tusk. Mm-hmm. He plays the guy who the girl is cheating with, like, and it just doesn't seem like that would be the guy. You know what I mean? Like the other guy, they got, spoilers, turned into a walrus, whatever it was. I mean, they don't even compare. Like, how is that the guy that the girl decided to cheat on? Like, I don't know. It just, casting wise, it just seems odd to me. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what they were going for when they cast it. Like, this is
what'd you think of their Liz?
No, I didn't have a problem with Liz.
Okay. Just giant baby.
Yeah, just a giant baby, and then Parsons. I Jim Parsons. I don't know. I love John Malkovich. I mean, I pretty much always love John Malkovich.
Yeah,
but
and after watching the actual footage of the trial, like he embodied that judge. Like, I don't know why even the judge was enamored by him while sentencing him, like in the movie and in real life. Like, they were still just like, you are a fine young man. And it saddens me that this is a path you took. And it's like, what the fuck? You just convicted him of murder and to death. Like,
I think this was kind of maybe a different time. People, like, this was just coming into the forefront. Like, these people existed out there. Yeah. It's like they were getting away with it for, like, I don't know how many thousands of years, and all of a sudden technology caught up, forensics and law enforcement. And then it's like, well, we can catch these people now. And it's weird to learn about the stuff that they used to be able to get away with, but now it's like almost impossible.
Yeah, because he had been doing it for years before they finally caught up with him. And like, it kind of hits you as the credits roll. The first thing you see isn't who starred in the movie or who directed the movie. The first thing you see are like 3 pages of the known victims of this fucker, and that just like kind of settles it home. Like, fuck. And
they do a good thing at the end. I mean, they do list the victims.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Like, before even listing who started the movie, that's the first thing you fucking see is, goddamn, like, wow, he was a horrible person. And then the bastard asked for his ashes to be spread where he hid most of his bodies. Like, what?
That's just
and they did it.
That's just to twist the knife, I guess, after they stick it in. I don't know. That's like the movie is named correctly. Yeah,
that's why I hate that long title.
I love it. It's good.
Oh man, but yeah, he was a, like, how he didn't. He's. I have to pick my words very wisely. The man escaped prison custody twice, because I don't think he quite got to jail, actual federal prison.
He escaped, but then he got caught again, so he wasn't that good.
But like the second time, he was out long enough to make it down from where, Colorado to Florida. Which is no short distance. He lasted there for quite some time, murdered 2 people, and almost killed 3 others with a freaking log. Like, he's a freaking and they don't even touch on, like, the main reason that he was taken down. Like, they do mention it briefly at the very end, the 12-year-old. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing that got him, what was it? X amount of life sentences and 3 death penalty sentences. Like, he was like, he got exactly what he deserved, basically. Despite he was kind of a live version of Hannibal Lecter, a real life version of Hannibal Lecter, because supposedly he helped the cops solve some crimes while waiting on death row and appealing, and losing his appeals and all that stuff. So, but yeah, Jesus, it's tough.
It's hard to talk about the movie without wanting to veer away from it and talk about the actual man. Yeah, it's difficult because you want to give the movie its just due. But
I have to say, for a Netflix movie, though, I thought. And I say that all the time. Every time we do a Netflix movie, no disrespect meant Netflix, because you do amazing work, but it felt small because they used like 3 sets. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just didn't feel large like a big movie. I don't know.
I think that was almost purposeful because I think they wanted it to feel somewhat claustrophobic. Like you're just you and this small group of people, and you attempting to hold control over them, making them believe you are what you say you are, but when you're really not. I think that all ties in together. But again, I just felt like I was held hostage the entire movie, and I just can't. And then I was attacked by a giant man baby.
And you weren't enamored by his charisma?
I was not. I like I said, the acting is phenomenal. He does a good job of pulling it off. Yeah. But you sit there, kind of like when you're watching a horror movie, and then there's like a guy with a butcher's knife hiding behind a door, and the girl's about to walk in the room. You're like, don't go in there, don't go in there. Like you had that same feeling throughout this entire movie. Like, don't believe him, don't believe him. And even though he's standing right there, and you can clearly see he has that metaphorical knife in his hand, but it just doesn't pan out for me. I don't know.
I hear you. I sadly, my brain goes places with these type of films, and like I said, I sat down afterwards and I watched footage, and I was like trying to piece things together that were already pieced together that I didn't need to piece together because it was just a Google away. But I was like, it just made my overactive imagination start racing, and I was like, this can't be how this went. Like, because now someone escapes from prison or from jail, I should say, not once but twice. Like, yeah, you're going on trial for murder, but you're already going to prison for escaping jail. You're getting locked away.
It was a different time.
Yeah, definitely a different time, 70s, 80s, but and then you have the realism on top of that fact, like that it actually happened, and then. So I kind of was distracted while watching a movie, like half in, half like, this is a real dude. And I starting to hate Zac Efron.
Well, then he did a good job then if you made you hate him.
It's like, this is a Mr. Baywatch. What's going on here? But yeah. And then the ending. We have to talk about the ending. Did you like the reveal of? Do you think he actually did that? The whole hacksaw writing, or
that seems kind of dramatic. But if I wouldn't have said it out loud. He's a lawyer, he's trying to be a lawyer, so he's smart enough to know that he would have had to done that. But I don't know. I mean, that was. I guess it was refreshing, but again, you already knew it, so it wasn't like. There was no big shock. Yeah. It was really a dull kind of feeling like, well, you already know. I mean, I don't know the personal stuff, like if he actually physically told you that he was, the monster, or if he lied the entire time saying he never was. But I guess that's good to know that he let her off the hook, like she was asking for. So she wouldn't feel guilty about, turning him in.
Yeah, that's just rough. So rough. Yeah, I gotta bow out of this one. I don't know. Go watch or not from you, sir?
It's a thumbs down from me. I would say no, even though the acting is fine. There's no fault in it. They did a good job of recreating what it was like back then, and I mean, I just didn't like the movie.
I am gonna bow out of this one. Like I said, I can't. It's hard for me to say go watch something that's based on true events where people were actually hurt and still feeling the effects of, because their family's still fucked up by this, and even more so that it's being made into movies. And at the same time they released a actual documentary based on his life and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and exclude myself.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, the genre of this movie is mystery and suspense. Yeah, and it doesn't have it for me, any of that. So I don't want to say it fails, but it was just not for me.
Yeah, so that's a very depressing, sad go watch a movie episode. I apologize ahead of time for that. But yeah, where you can find us. You can find us at gowatchamovie.com, where things are happier. And anywhere podcasts can be found. Head over to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and like and follow those pages and all that jazz. I just kind of feel bad because I hate that this one ended this way. But that's episode 83 of Go Watch a Movie. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Go watch a movie and don't kill anybody.